Japan will seek to improve military ties with the Philippines during Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's visit to Manila, which comes as tensions escalate between Beijing and the Southeast Asian nation over territorial disputes in the South China Sea. Bilateral relations between the two countries, Japan and the Philippines, are now getting closer in an effort to strengthen military cooperation, especially in relation to national defense, recently increasing so that the Philippine Army has the possibility to obtain more armored vehicles, especially Type 74 tanks. Previously, there had been discussions regarding the possibility of supplying Japanese military hardware to the Philippine military, with the Philippine Army as the main recipient of such assets. However, the military hardware mentioned above coming from the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Forces inventory is not the only one that would likely fall into the hands of the Philippine Army, as there was only one type of armored vehicle demonstrated by Japan. Some willingness to provide their Filipino counterparts with upgrades to their armored capabilities in addition to what they already have, such as the Sabra tanks of ASCOD-2 and Pandur-2 chassis, coming from Israel's Elbit Systems Limited. Local media also said that the Philippine Army is interested in acquiring a number of armored vehicles referring to the Japanese-made Type 74 tank, as this platform is something of interest to Philippine Army officials, as this main battle tank, along with the Combat Utility Helicopter -1J, they are in the process of obtaining a decommissioning schedule for the ship from active Japanese military service. The Philippine Army aspires to acquire additional medium main battle tank or light tank unit fleets for its operations, as the orders for Sabra tanks with ASCOD-2 and Pandur 26X6 chassis under the current contract are insufficient in number. Therefore, the Type 74 tank is worth discussing in order to get it, because the possibility for the Philippine Army to get it exists, although it is not necessarily 100% guaranteed because plans change from time to time and there are changes. One of the pieces of information here is the Philippine Army's idea to obtain and maintain at least 144 medium main battle tanks or MMBT units, where the number provided is not sufficient when referring to the number of Sabra tanks ordered by the Philippine Army in its current contract. Arrangement of 28 units. The idea to fill it arose when the idea of purchasing Type 74 tanks from JGSDF stock began to be considered. This shows that this number is still a requirement that the Philippine Army has as part of its operational needs. The idea of purchasing the Japanese Type 74 tank came as its retirement from service became increasingly inevitable with the entry of the Type 10 main battle tank into active service of Japan's Ground Self-Defense Forces units, as well as other potential offers the country had on offer to the armed forces of the Philippines, ranging from the locally produced R-1J Huey helicopter to the potentially up for grabs AH-1S Cobra attack helicopter, which may benefit the Army's Hiraya Aviation Regiment. In short, the purchase of the Type 74 tank is an attractive proposition that can help increase the capabilities of the Philippine Army's armored vehicle capabilities, especially in light of the idea of deploying a number of medium main battle tanks adding to the current number of Sabra tanks. Wheeled and tracked variants ordered from Israel's Elbit Systems Limited. Although idealistic, this concept remains just a plan, unless there is a clear emphasis that this prospect actually becomes a reality. The specifications for the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force or JGSDF tank Type 74 come as a byproduct of ongoing development resulting from previous prototypes built by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, aimed at improving the prospects of the second generation of main battle tanks being designed. To replace the Type 61 tank, Japan's first domestically manufactured main battle tank since its defeat in the Second World War and the adoption of a defense-oriented armed force, which it still has today. JGSDF, the Japanese Type 74 main battle tank, does look old, but this tank is still very feared by other countries and the Philippine Army needs to get several units of this tank. We all know that goods or products from Japan are of very good quality as proven by the Japanese main battle tank. Type 74, which has been in service for a long time now, the idea of purchasing a Japanese Type 74 tank arose because its retirement from service became increasingly inevitable with the inclusion of the Type 10 main battle tank into the tank.